to Professor Muhammad Atiq for having invited me to exchange a few of my thoughts and ideas on this very important subject, outcome-based education and curriculum design. Friends, when you are students, all of you are in traditional system of education. You never knew as students about course learning outcomes, program learning outcomes, mapping between the two, program educational objectives, and then active learning strategies, continuous and comprehensive assessment, and all that. Now, as faculty members, you have to unlearn totally how you were taught, and you have to reorient completely to the new system. That new system is outcome-based education. In fact, special training is needed in implementation of outcome-based education to all the faculty. That is the reason why UGC has been trying a lot to train the faculty through the UGC MMTTs of nearly more than 100 UGC MMTTs are there across the country. Through those centers, Madan Mohan Malaviya teacher training centers, UGC is trying to train the faculty. But it is the faculty who have to make the best use of the facility to educate themselves. See, lecturing by experts is only one aspect. But there is a large scope. Once you become faculty, there is a large scope for self-learning after listening to various lectures. You have to reflect upon various aspects. You have to deeply think about various aspects of this new education system. It's not a mechanical process, it's a creative process. So I request all of you to kindly pay total attention to this subject, which is not very simple. It is totally new to all of you. If you have any questions, please note down in your notebook. When you ask questions, please unmute yourselves. Till then, please mute yourselves so that there is no disturbance for the program. With this brief introduction, I shall proceed with the presentation of my lecture in the form of a PowerPoint presentation. Sir, am I audible to all of you? My voice is clear?
Yes, sir, absolutely clear. Your voice is clear. Your PPT is also visible. Only can you put it on slide mode?
Yeah, full slide
Because
mode.
I mean, faculty can see from their mobile also.
Yeah, there is a problem in the full slide mode in my computer.
Sir, there is a button at the bottom. No, you can go for that, no? Why it is not happening?
No, I have tried in the earlier programs. I have tried a lot. But
no, sir. At the bottom it is there. No, you just click that and see. Or else do a whole screen sharing. When you're doing sharing, no, at that time do whole screen sharing.
You want me to go back and again do it?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. Please, because no, if faculty want to see from the mobile, na sharing part you do again. Sharing part.
Share.
And when you are doing share, na sir, do whole share, whole screen share.
Entire screen.
Entire screen, yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can just click that bottom button at the bottom corner.
At the bottom.
Third, up, above. Next to that. Next to that. Next to that. Three buttons are there, no, sir?
Yeah,
Three,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah, sir. Click that.
It is not working.
Dipali ma'am. Dipali ma'am.
It does
Dipali ma'am,
not.
take care of yourself.
Huh?
Sir, okay then, leave it. Because
Yeah.
that is the only option, whole
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
and this.
Earlier, I tried several occasions this suggestion.
Then you can try from beginning at the topmost corner.
At the topmost corner, it is hiding. This meeting
No,
is being.
first option, first.
Yeah, that
From
is from the
beginning.
beginning.
That
From
one.
beginning. Yeah.
Yes, it happened.
But the slide does not move in this
You can
mode.
move, sir. With the mouse,
Okay,
just
okay. It is now moving. Today
yeah,
it
sir.
is working. Today it is working. Maybe
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
because of
No,
your
but it is
initiative,
visible
it is
for all the
working.
faculties, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you for your suggestion. It is working today. Earlier also I tried, but it did
Okay,
not
sir.
work. Today it is working. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So I am extremely happy, first of all, for your interest. That interest, that zeal, that enthusiasm among the faculty is the most important attribute of a teacher. When the teacher has enthusiasm in learning, passion for learning, then automatically the students are with you. The students are motivated. The students are inspired. When the students are inspired and motivated, that will motivate the teachers also. So it's a continuous motivation and inspiration by both the teachers and students. Then your classroom will be a great experience, enjoyable experience. Both the teachers and students look forward to that experience every time. Your students will greet you whenever you enter with whole heart welcome, right? With wholehearted welcome. Anyway, thank you once again. So when you talk about outcome-based education, this definition given by Spady assumes a lot of significance. This is the best definition. A book was written by Spady and published in 1994. It is available in the internet also. Leisurely, you please read the entire book. You will be greatly benefited. When you say outcome-based education, it means we must focus clearly and organize everything around what is essential for all students, essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of the learning experiences. In this definition, there are two important points. The first point is at the end of their learning experiences. Please note this point. When do the students have learning experiences, sir? Suppose you give a beautiful lecture and leave the hall. Do the students have great learning experiences? They will listen, some of them, they listen very rarely. They are in their own beautiful worlds. They will certainly have learning experiences only when they perform some activity in the classroom and outside the classroom. They involve in either problem solving, analysis of case studies, group discussion, question answer session, giving a 5-minute seminar by the students, and home assignments, mini projects outside the class, leadership in organizing several seminars by the students. Teachers may guide them, right? But students should get involved in tech fairs, in cultural fairs, in all the seminars which the department organizes. Let the students take the forefront. Community service, hobby clubs. There are so many learning experiences possible inside the classroom and outside the classroom. That is important, sir. The old method, giving the lecture and leaving the hall. No, today in outcome-based education, it demands that students must be provided several learning experiences inside the classroom and outside the classroom. At the end of those learning experiences, the students will be able to demonstrate knowledge and skills and attitudes. Right? Knowledge, skills, and attitudes at various higher levels of learning: apply level, analyze level, evaluate level, and create level. That is outcome-based education. That means we must always start with a clear picture of what is important for the students, what is needed by the students, not what we know. After recognizing what is important for students, not only today, by the time they graduate, then we organize the curriculum, our instructional strategies, and assessment strategies accordingly to ensure that ultimately that learning happens. That is outcome-based education. Therefore, outcome-based education has three components. One is curriculum design. The second aspect is instructional strategies, active learning strategies. You have to totally reorient, move from lecturing method to active learning strategies wherein students actively participate in the learning process. And assessment, outcome-based assessment, learning outcomes-based assessment. You have to totally change your question paper format. You have to totally change your periodical assessment by 2 or 3 tests and end semester examination. It demands continuous and comprehensive assessment. Continuous. Please note this point, continuous assessment. So outcome-based education demands a lot of effort from both the teachers and also students together. Then, outcome-based education system aims at developing a clear set of essential learning outcomes around which all of the education system's components can be focused. Developing a clear set of essential learning outcomes. That is the key, sir. That is not there in the traditional system. You have only syllabus. But in outcome-based education, clear set of essential learning outcomes you have to develop, the teacher has to develop who designs the course. Then we must establish the conditions and opportunities within the education system, within the institution, our laboratory facilities, classroom facilities, games and sports facilities, facilities for hobby clubs, learning spaces other than classroom in the campus, congenial environment in both college and hostel for learning, digital library full of journals and open educational resources. So all facilities which encourage all the students to achieve those essential learning outcomes. Infrastructural facilities, curriculum design, instruction, assessment. Ultimately, the students have to achieve the essential learning outcomes. Therefore, we must have a clear concept of what exactly are the learning outcomes. Outcomes are clear learning results that as the teachers, we want the students to demonstrate at the end of significant learning experiences. Outcomes are what learners can actually do with what they know and have learned. They are the tangible applications of what has been learned. That means outcomes are actions and performances of the students, which reflect the student's competence in using, not in remembering, in using the information, ideas, and tools successfully, in applying, in analyzing, in evaluating, in creating new knowledge. That is what we mean by learning outcomes. Then you want to design curriculum in outcome-based approach. For that, revised Bloom's taxonomy of learning levels is widely accepted as the basis for all the teachers to develop the learning outcomes. All over the world, we have accepted the Bloom's taxonomy. Therefore, in brief, I shall revise the revised Bloom's taxonomy of learning levels to have connection with my topic, to have a greater connection to my topic. So revised Bloom's taxonomy of classification of levels of mastery of learning in cognitive domain. This is in cognitive domain related to mental process, thinking process. The lowest level is remember level, rote learning, without understanding anything to memorize things. That is the lowest level of learning. Next higher level is understand level. Bloom's classified this level as the ability to understand the subject and explain in one's own words with new examples. That is understand level. Very important. Then apply level. Apply the learned concepts to new context, to unknown context. That is apply level. Higher than understand level. Then analyze level. Higher than apply level. The student will be able to break the information into parts, into its constant parts, and determine how the parts relate to one another and to the overall structure. Then evaluate, next higher level than analyze. The students will be able to evaluate different designs, models, procedures, software, and make judgment as to which one is superior to others. The judgment is important in evaluation level. Otherwise, it becomes analyze level only when there is no judgment. Simply analyze the data. But when there is a judgment, then it is evaluate level. Evaluate a given product as per the existing standards and benchmarks. Then the highest level of all is the create level. The student will be able to synthesize new materials, new products, generate new ideas, new models, new software, new algorithms, new designs of a product, write new poetry in different languages, develop new business models, right? Contributing to new knowledge in one's field. That is create level, highest of all the levels. Remember level is the lowest of all the levels. There is a hierarchy in these learning levels. Means there is a ranking order. If the student has achieved, has reached the create level, that means he has already achieved evaluate level, analyze level, apply level, understand level, and remember level. Remembering is very important. Understanding is also very important. Applying is important. Analyzing is important. But if the student has achieved analyze level, that means he has achieved all the other three lower levels: apply level, understand level, and remember level. This is the understanding, sir. Bloom's classification of the levels of mastery of learning helps the teachers to plan different levels of mastery of the subject to be achieved by the students according to teachers' expectations. That we call learning outcomes of any course. COs, course outcomes, or course learning outcomes. Accordingly, the teacher will select the instructional materials, pedagogy, teaching learning strategies, and assessment strategies to make sure that learning ultimately happens. Bloom's taxonomy also helps the students to know as to what levels of mastery of learning they must achieve in a particular course. Accordingly, they will plan, they will use the instructional materials, put in necessary effort and time, and try to achieve at that particular level of learning. It helps both. Therefore, when you prepare course learning outcomes, you have to give them, the students, on the first day of instruction itself and explain the learning outcomes of the course to the students. As all these levels of mastery of the subject are related to thinking process, mental process, these are called cognitive levels. Cognition means thinking, mental process. So what are the 6 levels? Let us recapitulate once again from lowest to highest. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Remember, understand, and apply are considered to be more basic in nature. Therefore, they are called lower order thinking skills lots. Whereas analyze, evaluate, and create are considered to be more complex in nature. Therefore, they are called higher order thinking skills, that is HOTS, lots, HOTS. So when you do the curriculum design, it is suggested, it is recommended, at least there should be one HOT in your course learning outcomes, a minimum one HOT. The higher the number of HOTs, the better. It reflects higher standard of your course. Higher cognitive levels means higher standard of the course. It is the course learning outcomes which reflect the standard of your course. Now, I am going to explain now what are the action verbs used in writing the learning outcomes for each cognitive level. For each cognitive level. Remember level, for example, because we always use action verbs in writing the learning outcomes. We start our learning outcomes with action verb, course outcomes with action verb. Therefore, at remember level, lowest level, the examples, all these are only examples. The complete list is given by Bloom and it is available in the internet. Bloom's taxonomy of action verbs list is available. But these are only examples. At remember level, define, state, list, name, identify, recognize, etc. Then at understand level, explain, classify, describe, discuss, give examples, etc. Then at apply level, apply, interpret, solve, show, predict, employ, etc. Then analyze level, analyze, calculate, compare, differentiate, etc. At evaluate level, evaluate, judge, conclude, assess, etc. Create level, create, design, develop, devise, synthesize, etc. Cognitive level and action verbs. Examples of action verbs. Now, formulating learning outcomes, course learning outcomes at various cognitive levels, I have prepared guidelines for the benefit of the faculty. If you understand these guidelines thoroughly, make use of these guidelines in writing your course learning outcomes, you will be able to write perfect course learning outcomes, standard course learning outcomes, error-free course learning outcomes. Right? So what are these guidelines? 12 guidelines. The first guideline is write the learning outcomes in terms of what the learner does after completion of a course or a unit of a course, unit learning outcomes. Course means course learning outcomes. That is the first guideline. That is called performance part. Performance part. Performance part is essential in all the course learning outcomes. Then second guideline is common stem for all the learning outcomes. You have to use common stem. Common stem means common statement. Right. So after writing this common stem, what is the common stem? After completing this course successfully, the students should be able to, you write at the top. Then beneath that, you can write CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5, and so on. Every time you need not repeat. Only once you write. Therefore, we call it common stem. That is the second guideline. Then the third guideline is the learning outcome consists of three parts in general, namely performance part, condition part, and criterion part. What are the three parts, sir? Performance part, condition part, and criterion part. Three parts. What is performance part? Action verb. It includes action verb and subject content. That's all. That is performance part. Condition part means the conditions under which the student will perform a particular task. That condition may be a resource. Resource means a database, a software, an algorithm, right? Then, our context. For what context? In what context the student will apply a particular software for what application? Otherwise, it is meaningless. It is incomplete. So, to make the learning outcome complete, sometimes you may have to use the condition part, either resource or context or both. Then criterion part. The third part is criterion part. What is that? It means how well the learner will perform in terms of quality parameter. That is important. In terms of quality parameter. Right? For example, the student will be able to design a circuit without any error. The student will be able to develop an algorithm without any error. Right? The student will be able to perform the experiment to an accuracy of 99%. That is, the student will be able to write a coherent paragraph in English language without any error. Right? So when you say like this, that means you are trying to give your expectation in terms of quality parameter. So sometimes whenever necessary, you use the criterion part, quality parameter part. Sometimes when necessary, you mention the condition part, resource or context. But performance part is compulsory in all the course, all the learning outcomes of a course or a unit. That is the third guideline. Then fourth guideline, the learning outcome must be achievable by the students. When you say it must be achievable by the students, that means it must be achievable by 80% of the students. That is the meaning, 80% of the students. Or higher, or higher. Only then it is achievable. So what is its educational implication? Its implication is, during the first year undergraduate program, don't go to create level or evaluate level. Don't go to such highest levels. Because many students will not be able to achieve during the first year level, that is transition from +2 to higher education. Maybe in the projects, students' projects, you can expect create level and evaluate levels. Even at higher levels of courses, level 3 courses, third year and fourth year courses, you can design courses. Yes, you can use evaluate levels and create levels. But level 1 courses and first year courses, you limit the highest cognitive level up to analyze level only. So that 80% of the more than 80% of the students will be able to achieve. This is the understanding. Then fifth guideline, the learning outcome must be measurable. Must be measurable. Choose suitable action verb accordingly. For example, please do not use the action verbs like remember, understand, know, acquire, appreciate, think, believe, realize, gain, etc., which are not measurable. Not measurable means you cannot give a question using these action verbs. Can you give a question? Remember so and so loss? No. You give a question, state so and so loss. Do you give a question, understand so and so procedure? No. You give a question, explain so and so procedure. Will you give a question, no, to solve the problem? You give a question, solve the problem. Right? So all these action verbs indicate the process of learning, but not learning outcomes. All the action verbs must denote the learning outcomes. Therefore, you should not use any of these action verbs. This is the common error which most of the faculty do. Please avoid this common error. Then sixth guideline, fix the learning level first, always. Then accordingly, choose the suitable action verb, not the other way around. Seventh guideline, start writing each learning outcome with an action verb of the performance part. Right? Always start with action verb. Eighth guideline, generally use only one action verb for each learning outcome corresponding to the cognitive level. Don't write the learning outcomes like this. The students will be able to define, explain, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create so and so. If you write students will be able to create, the other cognitive levels are obvious. You should not write. Corresponding to the same cognitive level, like analyze and interpret, you can write. No issue. The two, if you use more than one action verb, there are two action verbs should reflect the same cognitive level, the same learning level. The ninth guideline, the learning outcome must be easily understood by the students without any ambiguity. The learning outcome must be easily understood by the students without any ambiguity. Use simplest possible language, English language. Or if it is in Hindi also, don't use complex sentences. Simple sentence, so that the student should be able to understand whatever you mean. Your meaning and the student's understanding should not be different. They should be same. So no ambiguity, straightforward. 10th guideline, for each learning outcome, cognitive level, the learning level must be mentioned within the brackets so that the students know as to what cognitive level they have to learn. Students should know that. 11th guideline, the course outcome, COs, may be mostly at understand level and higher levels. Not even a single course outcome, not even a single one can be at remember level. That is the lowest level. But for most of the engineering courses, science courses, the course outcomes may be apply and higher level. Mathematics courses, apply and higher level. This understand level I have mentioned for the sake of humanities, social sciences, arts. For such courses you understand level is allowed, understand and higher. Therefore, in order to include all the categories of disciplines of knowledge, I have given the range as understand level and higher. The number of course outcomes may be 5 or 6. National Board of Accreditation mentioned for a 3 or 4 credit course, the number of course outcomes may be 6 NBA, but up to 5 it is allowed for some courses with 3 credit courses. So in some of the programs, offline also, the deans and principals used to sit in my classes. They used to tell me, sir, in our college, uniformly, we have asked the teachers to write only 4 course learning outcomes, divide the syllabus into 4 units, each unit 1 course learning outcome, 4 units 4 course learning outcomes. That is wrong. For a 3 or 4 credit course, 4 course learning outcomes are not acceptable. Minimum 5. And there is nothing like uniformity in the number of course learning outcomes across the institution in all the courses. Because each course is unique course, sir. You cannot compare 2 different courses. Therefore, you give a range, 5 to 6. Some courses may have 6, some courses may have 5, some courses. And another thing is, there is nothing like separate unit, especially in many engineering courses and mathematics courses, there is a continuation of knowledge. Continuity of knowledge. Unit 1 is dependent on Unit 1. Unit 3 is dependent on Unit 2. Unit 4 is dependent on Unit 3. Like that. There is a continuity of knowledge. Therefore, you have to take the entire course as a single entity and then write the course learning outcomes, not unit based. However, there may be certain conditions like each unit is different. The first unit is different from second unit, third unit is different, fourth unit is different, like that. In such cases, you can write unit level learning outcomes, no issue. Only in such cases. Wherever there is continuity of knowledge in all the units, then you take the entire course into consideration and write the course learning outcomes. Right. These are the 12 guidelines. Once again, performance part is essential, condition part or criterion part whenever necessary. Any subject content discussed in the class, remembered and recalled by the students, the cognitive level is remember only. The cognitive levels apply, analyze, evaluate, create, refer to unknown contexts, familiar but not discussed in the class and real-time problems. In the students' projects, mini projects or major projects, there is a large scope in the learning outcomes at higher cognitive levels like create and evaluate. Therefore, the cognitive level of each of the learning outcome has to be carefully understood by the teacher while formulating the learning outcomes of any course, and it must be mentioned against each learning outcome. The students will then be able to understand clearly as to what cognitive level they have to reach in that particular learning outcome. Now, I am going to give you a few examples of different categories of disciplines. Examples will enable you to understand the subject better. The first example is course name, Design and Analysis of Algorithms. Course outcomes, That is the subheading. After completion of this course, students should be able to, you can also write students will be able to, no issue. That is the common stem. Then CO1, 1 means here CO1, demonstrate action verb, a familiarity with major algorithms and data structures. A familiarity with major algorithms and data structures. That is the subject content. Action verb and subject content. What is it called? Performance part. And within the brackets, you write cognitive level, understand level. Then let us see CO2. Apply action verb. Important algorithmic design paradigms and methods of analysis. That is the subject content. Here also, it is only performance part. What is the cognitive level? Apply level. The third CO, analyze, is the action verb. The asymptotic performance of algorithm, subject content. Again, performance part only. What is the cognitive level? Analyze level. Right. Action verb. The rigorous correctness proofs for algorithms. Cognitive level, apply level. Performance part only. Look at CO5. Synthesize. Efficient algorithms. Synthesize action verb. Efficient algorithm, subject content. So the performance part is over. Right? Then the teacher wants the student to synthesize efficient algorithms without any error. Therefore, he has used the criterion part. Without any error is the criterion part. Not with errors, without any error. Teacher wants that. That kind of standard the teacher expects from the students. Therefore, he has written without any error. Then look, go further. In common engineering design situations, in common engineering design situations, that is the context. Context part, application. You remove that in common engineering design situations, you read the statement, synthesize efficient algorithms without any error. Then the question comes, for what purpose? For what application? That means it is incomplete. The course outcome must be complete. Therefore, it is mentioned, the application is mentioned in common engineering design situations. That is the context part. CO5, therefore, has all the three parts. Synthesize efficient algorithms, performance part. In common engineering design situations, conditions part. Without any error, that is the criterion part. And the cognitive level is create level. You see, one understand level, two apply levels, one analyze level, one create level. Now, one science course, I have given here example of a science course, analytical chemistry, course outcomes. After completion of the course, the students will be able to, that is the common stem, apply action verb, the principles of data analysis, etc. Apply level, apply basic concepts of volumetric and gravimetric analysis to chemical analysis of materials. That is again condition part. Select suitable spectroscopic technique and interpret results obtained in qualitative and quantitative analysis of any given material. Condition part. Interpret the results of thermal methods of analysis of any given material. Condition part. Interpret the results of different electroanalytical methods for analysis of any given material. Condition part. performance and condition part. Evaluate the suitability and appropriateness of different methods of analysis for a given application in industry. Again, condition part. So most of the COs have condition part. And 2 COs are at apply level, 3 at analyze level, 1 at evaluate level. Then another course, engineering course on digital electronics. Yours is College of Engineering and Technology. Therefore, I thought I would give more number of examples related to engineering. Course outcomes, here subheading. After completion of this course, the student should be able to common STEM, explain the concepts and terminology of digital electronics, understand level, apply logic to design and creation using gates to find out solutions to problems. Using gates, again condition part. Use De Morgan's theorem to simplify a negated expression. Formulate and employ a Karnaugh map. Karnaugh map again is a condition part, resource, to reduce Boolean expressions and logic circuits to their simplest forms. Apply part. Create circuits to solve problems using gates, again condition part, to replicate all the possible functions. Design and evaluate a solution to a digital design problem, evaluate level. Design and implement combinational logic circuits using reprogrammable logic devices, again condition part. In most of the COs here also, you have performance part and also condition part. So 1 understand level, 4 apply level, 5 apply level, and 1 evaluate level. Very good course, standard course. So this I am skipping, not relevant to you. Mathematics. You have mathematics courses also in College of Engineering and Technology. Number theory. After completion of this course, the students will be able to analyze hypotheses and conclusions of mathematical statements, analyze level. Apply different methods of proof to verify mathematical assertions, etc. Apply level. Solve systems of Diophantine equations using Chinese remainder theorem and the elucidation algorithm. Again, conditional part is there. Explain the basics of modular algorithm, arithmetic, understand level. State and prove Fermat's little theorem and its generalization using Euler's function, understand level. Use the Fermat's little theorem to implement RSA, cipher, and discrete log cipher, apply level. So this is, again, you have understand level and apply level and analyze level, right? So with this, I have given a good number of examples. Here, I should explain one more important point. That is, dear friends, some participants ask me a question, sir, is it that first we should write lower cognitive level and then proceed to higher cognitive levels? No, not at all. It depends upon the sequence of learning. It depends upon the sequence of topics of learning, right? So you can always write first apply level, then second understand level, third analyze level, fourth understand level, like that also, no issue. There is another question asked, is it necessary that the course outcome should consist of all the cognitive levels? No. There can be only apply and analyze levels in 6 course outcomes. Or 2 apply, 2 analyze, 1 evaluate, or 3 apply, 2 analyze, 1 evaluate level. There is nothing like that. It depends upon the nature of the course. It depends upon what are the expectations of the teacher. Every course is unique. But only thing is you have to properly justify your course learning outcomes in your board of studies and also academic senate. Course learning outcomes and cognitive levels and their what is called agreement with the syllabus. That is important. Otherwise, they can find fault with you. Now, open up to course learning outcomes, guidelines, examples, all this. This is one important expertise every one of you should have to write standard and error-free course learning outcomes. You should be a resource person. To that extent, you should develop the expertise. Now, based on your experience earlier, if you have any doubts, any clarifications, any questions, you are most welcome. Now, up to this. Questions, please. Any questions? Your questions are very relevant to your understanding and my explanation. Without questions, without interaction, it is incomplete. My offline classes will be full of questions, full of interaction. But that is not possible here. Therefore, at appropriate time, I shall open for the questions. Now this is the appropriate time to clear off all your questions, all your doubts. Please remember, you should be a resource person for your college after this lecture session.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Sir, one simple doubt I have.
Yeah.
Like we are going to mention in our question papers also the course outcomes.
Yeah.
So in that, how frequent, like generally they say don't use the words describe, explain. So is it relevant to use this, or we should avoid using explain and describe frequently?
It's a very good question. It is not a simple doubt. It's a very good question you have asked. Runal Deshpande ji, I appreciate.
Thank you, sir.
The point here is, whenever you set the question paper, it should map with the outcomes, with the course outcomes. Suppose your course outcomes consist of understand level. One course outcome is understand level. So to map with that course outcome, you can use action verbs explain, describe, discuss. No doubt, no issue at all. But your course outcome is apply level. You have to frame a question mapping with the course outcome at apply level. Then you should not use the action verb explain, describe, etc. because those action verbs denote understand level. So the question must be mapped with the course outcome. If your course outcome is at analyze level, then I have given the list of action verbs: analyze, interpret, assess. employ, like that, such action verbs have to be used. Bloom has given complete list. You can take the help of the Bloom's taxonomy action verbs list. Depending on the cognitive level of your course outcome, while setting the question paper, mapping with the course outcome, you have to set the question paper. Then suitable action verbs have to be used. That is the guideline.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very good question. Please ask me questions. Your questions are more important for me to go deep into the subject and clarify your doubts.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I having actually two doubts in my mind.
Yes.
First one for theory papers. Yeah, for
Yeah.
theory papers or for theory syllabus, I always feel difficult to find the Bloom's level. Can you guide for that?
You find
For only a theory.
theory
There is
for
no
theory
any.
courses.
Yes, yes, for theory courses.
You find it difficult for the Bloom's level.
Bloom's level. Yes.
Yeah. What is the theory course you are teaching?
Actually, I teach ITM.
What is the complete
Industrial
name?
and Training Management. ITM. ITM, Industrial and Training Management.
Industrial Training Management.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So,
Industrial Training Technology Management.
okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, suppose Smart Grid, this is also theoretical one. Illumination,
Yeah.
this is also a theoretical
Yes.
one.
So, in management courses, actually, I have not given an example here. In management courses, there is a large scope to write the course outcomes at apply level, analyze level, and evaluate level. Apply various principles of industrial technology training management. So you are the best judge, nobody else. You can give one course outcome at understand level also, explain the basic principles of or basic fundamentals of industrial technology training management, like that. One CO you can give at understand level. Right. But you can give other COs at apply and analyze levels also. Analyze various models available in industrial technology training management. Like that, for example, I am telling, there is a large scope. Suppose if I know the actual syllabus, I can immediately suggest you can use, even otherwise also, you can use understand level, apply level, and analyze level. All these three levels you can use. Don't go for create level and evaluate level. Create level is not possible. Create level means it includes design courses, mostly design courses. They can go to create level. Management courses up to analyze level, you can have the cognitive levels. You please think over deeply based on for example, in management courses, there will be case studies. Do you have case studies in your syllabus?
Yes, sir. We have case study.
Yeah, case study means analyze level only.
Yes, yeah. Designing we can avoid, right?
designing, do you have designing any model, any new model?
No.
No.
Only
So
case
then,
study, totally theoretical.
so that means up to analyze you can go. For example,
Yes,
case
yes.
study analyze. Management
Yes.
courses do contain case studies. Therefore, analyze level is there. Apply level is always there. Applying the basic principles for a particular task, it is always there. Understand is there. So understand, apply and analyze. These three levels you can use in your course.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Another doubt?
And yeah, one more is how do we avoid over mapping and under mapping, sir, for COs and POs, you can say. They are mapping it. Yeah. How we can analyze?
Fine. That's also a very good question.
Thank you, sir.
See, your second question, I will answer thoroughly when I discuss in my course of lecture on mapping between COs and POs. Okay? I will answer thoroughly at that time, your second question.
Okay.
Okay, Deepaji?
Sir, yeah, got it.
Yeah, fine. Any other questions? Very good questions. Now, I shall proceed further. If you have any questions, you can interrupt me, ask me questions. No issue. Origin of outcome-based education in India. This is an accord signed initially among 6 countries: Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and United States, way back 1989. Its purpose is to mutually recognize and accept the qualifications accredited by the signatories of the accord. India has become a signatory of Washington Accord on June 13th, 2014. The member countries follow outcome-based accreditation of the programs, especially to start with it was for engineering. All the member countries accept the defined graduate attributes for engineering programs. Please refer to the revised NBA guidelines. So we must be very clear, my dear friends, what do we understand by graduate attributes formulated by NBA, National Board of Accreditation, applicable for all engineering programs? Graduate attributes are a set of generic knowledge, skills, and attitudes, all the three, KASA. Generic knowledge, skills, and attitudes, essential for all engineers of 21st century. All graduate engineers are expected to demonstrate these graduate attributes. These graduate attributes first given are for engineering programs only by NBA. Then UGC has given learning outcomes based curriculum framework that is not relevant for you because yours is College of Engineering and Technology. I am skipping that. So, but generally, the graduate attributes given by UGC or engineering, there are something common: disciplinary knowledge, communication skills, critical thinking and problem solving, analytical reasoning, similar, not exactly same words, research related skills, collaboration, cooperation, and teamwork, information and digital literacy, multicultural competence, moral and ethical awareness, community engagement, NBA says engineer and society, leadership, readiness and quality, self-learning and lifelong learning. Okay. You see here, except disciplinary knowledge, all other things, communication skills, critical thinking and problem solving, analytical reasoning, research related skills, collaboration and teamwork, information and digital literacy, ethical awareness, community engagement, leadership readiness, self-learning and lifelong. All these are graduate attributes can be achieved only by overall learning experiences given by the to the students inside the classroom and outside the classroom. You have to implement active learning strategies, not lecturing method. You have to implement continuous and comprehensive assessment in the form of assignments, mini projects, term paper, different modes of assessment. Not one or two or three tests and then end semester examination. That is periodical assessment, not continuous assessment. So many learning experiences like community service. Only then engineer and society will be achieved. Mini projects. Only when you provide so many learning experiences, the graduate attributes will be achieved by the students by the time they graduate. This is a very important point. The educational implication of graduate attributes, sir. Now, this is for the UGC framework. For NBA, instead of qualification descriptors, you use the term program educational objectives, right? For NBA, for engineering programs, engineering colleges, instead of qualification descriptors, you use the term program educational objectives, PEOs, PEOs. This is UGC framework, which is depicted here. Instead of program learning outcomes, you use the term program outcomes. Instead of course learning outcomes, use the term course outcomes. Vision and mission, in both the cases, it is the same. Instead of qualification descriptors, in NBA terminology, use the term program educational objectives. So, vision, what are these? Vision is a futuristic statement that the department would like to achieve over a long period of time. Mission statements of the department are the means to achieve the vision. 3 to 4 mission statements. Mission statement 1 related to human resource development through teaching programs offered by the department or center. Mission statement 2 related to research. Mission statement 3 related to extension programs, sponsored research projects, right? Training programs as applicable with the institution. Mission statement 4 collaboration with other national and international organizations. Like that you have to write. There is a method to write vision statement and mission statements. Then program educational objectives, NBA terminology. Qualification descriptors, UGC terminology. The qualification descriptors are program educational objectives describe the academic standard for a specific qualification, bachelor's or master's, in terms of the levels of disciplinary knowledge, skills, competencies, attitudes, and values that the holders of the qualification are expected to demonstrate at the end of the graduation. That is the meaning of program educational objectives. You can write up to 5 program educational objectives in terms of disciplinary knowledge, application of disciplinary knowledge, communication skills, self-learning skills, then employable knowledge and skills. Like that, about 5 program educational objectives you can always write. Then there should be mapping table. Instead of QD, you write PUO. PUO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 or 6. This is the first mapping table between PUO and mission statements. In the mapping table, 3 indicates high mapping, 2 indicates medium level mapping, 1 indicates low level mapping. Then program outcomes. What are program outcomes? POs. They include subject-specific knowledge and skills and competencies which the students of a specific academic program should be able to demonstrate for the award of the degree. The program outcomes would also focus on knowledge and skills that prepare students for further study, employment, and citizenship. Their comparability they must achieve the comparability of learning levels and academic standards across the country, different colleges and universities. POs may be drafted according to the graduate attributes. POs must be in alignment with POs, mapped with POs. In fact, NBA has given program outcomes, 11 program outcomes for UG programs, 10 program outcomes for PG programs, 5 program outcomes for MBA programs. NBA has given, you need not prepare program outcomes. NBA has given, you can just make use of them. You have to prepare PUOs, program educational objectives. You have to prepare course outcomes. You have to prepare vision statement and mission statements. Then you also have program specific outcomes you have to prepare for each academic program. If the curriculum of an academic program has a few specialized courses, then it may include 2 to 3 program specific outcomes related to the subject content, knowledge and skills of those specialized courses. For example, a BTech Computer Science and Engineering program has a course on Internet of Things. So there can be one PSO on Internet of Things. Has a course on artificial intelligence. You can have one PSO on artificial intelligence. There is a course on machine learning. You can have a PSO on machine learning. Like that, each program should always have 2 to 3 program specific outcomes which reflect the advances of knowledge and skills in that particular academic program. It should have 2 to 3 program specific outcomes. This is a general guideline. Then this is a mapping table between program outcomes, program specific outcomes, and POs. POs, instead of QD, you read this as PO because yours is engineering program. QD is for UGC terminology. PO is NBA terminology. This is the second mapping table between POs and PEOs. POs, PSOs, and PEOs. Again, the same understanding. 3 for high mapping, 2 for medium mapping, 1 is for low mapping. Then course learning outcomes I have already discussed. Then design of each course in the curriculum. That is called course design. A good course design consists of the following components. Prerequisite knowledge you must mention for the level 1 course. For the level 2 course, level 1 course is the prerequisite course. Then second component is course outcomes 5 to 6 for 3-4 credits. Then third component is mapping of COs with 1 or more POs in the form of a table. Mapping of COs with 1 or more POs in the form of a table. Detailed syllabus including references. Then teaching learning strategies, only names in brief, discussion method, question answer method, problem solving method, like that. You can mention mini project. You can mention only the names. Then assessment methods and weightages in brief, only names, tests, assignments, term paper, mini project, like that only the names you can mention and the corresponding weightages you can mention. So there are 6 components in a good course design. This is implemented in many universities. Then template. This template can take you for the complete, for any program. This is the template program for academic program. Vision statement, single statement, then mission statements 3 to 4. The name of the academic program, PEOs, about 5 PEOs, mapping between PEOs and mission statements, first mapping table, 3 for high mapping, 2 for medium mapping, 1 for low mapping, dash for no mapping. Then program outcomes, it is 11 only for BTech, 10 for MTech, and 5 are for MBA, POs given by NBA. Program specific outcomes 2 to 3, which you have to prepare. Then mapping table between POs, PSOs and PUOs. Next mapping table. Then course design, prerequisite knowledge, course learning outcomes, course outcomes. Then this is the CO PO mapping table, which I said I shall explain. Then you map CO and PO and PSO instead of CLO, you can understand in NBA terminology CO instead of PLO, PO. Okay. The questioner asked, Deepaji, can we avoid overmapping or undermapping when you prepare this CO PO table? That's a very important question. A very important point. I have gone through many mappings between CO and PO. Only 5 or 6 boxes are filled, all other boxes are kept empty. Actually, there are 2 mistakes here. No box should be kept empty. If there is no mapping, you should put a dash there. That is the first error. Second error is, why only 5 or 6 boxes are filled? The reason is, the faculty have taken into consideration only COs while mapping. Only COs per se. So COs, how do they map COs? Only for disciplinary knowledge. All other POs are general, critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, collaboration and teamwork, engineer and society, self-learning, professional ethics, digital literacy or ICT, use of ICT tools. Those are the program outcomes. So, while mapping between CO and PO, please take into consideration your active learning strategies. You have to implement active learning strategies. You have to implement continuous and comprehensive assessment. You have to implement different modes of assessment, not only 3 unit tests and 1 end semester examination. That is not correct in outcome-based education. You have to give assignments, different modes of assessment. Wherever possible, you can give mini project with a weightage of 20%. Mini project. Assignments, mini project, term paper, then tests, then end semester examination. So many different modes of assessment are there. Suppose you give mini project to a weightage of 20%. When they do mini project, that mini project also you take into consideration while mapping. So when they do mini project, for example, when they do group project, then critical thinking is achieved, analytical reasoning is achieved. Today, every project needs use of ICT tools, that is achieved. Self-learning is achieved. Because it is a group project, collaboration and teamwork is achieved. If it has application for the community, engineer and society is achieved. So many program outcomes are achieved if you implement mini project. Many program outcomes are achieved if you implement assignments on term paper, not only tests. Therefore, when you do this mapping table between CO and PO, it is not only COs per se, not only disciplinary knowledge. You can map with communication skills, group collaboration, teamwork, if you give group tasks, self-learning, critical thinking, professional ethics, information tools, all those things. you can use while mapping this table. Many boxes can be filled with either 3 or 2 or 1. Very few boxes you have to keep with dash. Deepaji, now coming to your management, industrial training technology management course, you can map with many program outcomes, provided you make use of active learning strategies like problem solving, analysis of case studies, group discussion inside the class and also outside the class. You give case studies as assignments, unknown case studies as assignments. Let them do one case study inside the class. Analysis level is achieved. Group assignment is you give. Collaboration and teamwork is achieved. Self-learning is achieved. So for all those program outcomes, you can comfortably put 3 there. If you develop a very transparent and integrity kind of teacher-student relationship, then professional ethics, always you can give 3. Depends upon teacher-student relationship. Your students are very honest to you. That is possible by maintaining teacher-student relationship. There may be very, very less number of students who may not maintain. You don't bother about them. Right. So this is the answer. This is most important. COPO mapping is the most important table wherein many faculty do mistakes. Right? Then detailed syllabus, teaching learning strategies in brief, assessment methods and weightages in brief. Drafting the syllabus, salient points. It must be student-centered syllabus, great relevance to the needs of the students. Current and future trends in the discipline must be taken into consideration. The syllabus must not be heavy in outcome-based education to the extent of 20 to 30% you remove from the traditional way of setting the syllabus. Okay, finalizing the syllabus. So what syllabus has to be removed? Only principles, concepts, applications at cognitive levels like understand, apply, analyze, evaluate and create level. Right? So only that syllabus, whatever the students can learn by self-learning, you remove that. Give it in the form of assignments. Right? So with this conclusion, if a teacher designs a standard outcome-based curriculum and implements the same by using appropriate pedagogy and assessment strategies, the teacher mentors generations of students to become innovators, entrepreneurs, experts in one's own profession, and above all, great teachers like you. Such teachers will be remembered by their students forever. Such teachers will attain meaning and fulfillment of their lives. I pay rich tributes to such great teachers. I wish that all of you become such great teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So there are so many videos, about 60 videos related to pedagogy out of 80 videos. So the channel name is Professor Space BV Space Apparao. If you have any questions, now if I am not encroaching into the next speaker's time, so it is open for discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, our next speaker has already joined, but
then
we will ask.
we can conclude. We can conclude.
Yes, sir. But we will take if participant having some questions, couple of questions, 1 or 2 questions. If participant have the question, we will take 1 or 2 questions, participant, not more than that, because we have to move for another session. So if you have questions or the queries, you can directly ask to Professor Apparao, sir. Please, anyone. Because the concept you have elaborated in such a simplest way that, sir, every participant should understand in a very systematic way.
Yeah.
And definitely, I have your presentation and I will share with all the participants. So that will be very beneficial for them, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think, sir, we shall conclude if you could
conclude the session.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank
On
you.
behalf of Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Marathwada Mitra Mandal College of Engineering and Engineering, Karvenagar, Pune, and all the participants, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Apparao sir for such a wonderful and simplest session towards the curriculum development. Sir, you have elaborated the all meanings from inception to COPO mapping and its assessment, particularly, and what should be the course there and how it should be the outcome based. You have deliberately elaborate here, sir, in a very simplest way. You have explained this complex system in a very simplest manner, and that we could understand in a very better and a very important way, sir. So we are really thankful to you, sir, for your precious time and thought-provoking session here. I once again extend my sincere thanks to you, and with the kind consent of Professor Apparao sir, I would like to declare this first session, particular session, will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Professor Nazir, sir.
Yeah, I'm very much here, sir.
Yeah, sir. So if you could permit, shall we start with the session, sir?
Yes, sir. Most welcome, sir. Surely.
So participants, once again, good afternoon to one and all. As I have already told you that the today's session have been split into the two different parts. First part, at most we have completed, and now we are moving towards the another part of today's session. That is the academic leadership governance in the higher education institute. Friends, you know that any policy, any document need a vision and need a strong leadership for its implementation, because hurdles are definitely there, but this strong leadership will definitely come up with some kind of solution that will be evolved. And the leadership is not generated in a in a single day or the day in a couple of days. It is evolving process, and now in the changing dimension of this higher education, it is very much needed that the teachers, who are the real driven forces of this national education policy, are the real leaders, and they must be sensitized in a that way, in a such a way that they should adopt these changes rapidly, and they should evolve whatever may be the mechanism towards very much important for the implementation of this national education policy. So therefore the policymakers has inculcated this particular theme or the verticals under this flagship program, that is the academic leadership governance and the management in the higher education institute. So friends, we will going to discuss this very much important aspects with the help of one renowned scholarly expert, Professor Nazir Ahmed sir. So sir, first of all, I extend my warm welcome to you to this flagship program, and particular to this session. Friends, Professor Nazir sir is a professor in the Department of Commerce at the University of Kashmir, situated in the Srinagar, Jammu Kashmir. He is also the director of this Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center at the similar university, and having the same responsibility on his shoulder to sensitize and make aware our faculty members to adopt these changes and implement this policy in GIST. He is also the director of the career counseling career counseling cell of the university. Sir is continuously engaged in this field of higher education, not only the national but internationally since last 3 decades. His area of specialization is the human resource management, organizational behavior, and the strategic behavior. Before before joining the Kashmir University, sir is also serving as a full-time professor in the College of Business Administration at the Jagan University, situated in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He is also served as a professor in in the Mozhan College of situated in the Oman, Muscat, as a head of department in the business head of department of business and the economics in the department of in the department of uh, economics and commerce. Friends, he has more than the 3 decades of experience in this field of higher education. He has also completed the two different major research projects. Under his able guidance, 11 scholars have been completed their PhD degree. He is closely associated with the different organizational, professional, and the academic organization, and act as a chairman of the board of studies, member of the academic council, member of the different reviewer committees. He is recognized the different projects, not only not only in the national but also the international level. Work as a culture in the manufacturing unit, customer satisfaction in the bank, a study of JNK Bank, organizational climates, job satisfaction in the blank employee. So continuously engage in this field also. He has more than the 150 articles on his credit that has been published in the reputed national as well as the international journal. He has also acted as the associate editor and the editor for the most reputed journal, that is a business reviewer, Journal of the Faculty and Commerce of Management of the University of Kashmir, the University of Kashmir, as well as he is also act as an assistant coordinator for the study center of the Indira Gandhi National Open University situated in the Kashmir. So friends, this is a brief introduction with regards to Professor Nazir sir. There are a number of things that I could told with regards to Professor Nazir sir, but without taking too much time, we will move for our session because the session is very much important and highly interactive. So without, I once again extend my sincere thanks, warm welcome to you sir, and request you to please start with your session. Sir, please.
Oh, so great of you, sir. Good afternoon to all of you, dear participants of this national education policy. And just a minute, please. I received a call. Just a minute, please. Monsieur, assalamu alaikum. जनाब ठीक पड़ी खैरियत से मस अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बस दुआ मे पे बस सोच ना ये वैकेंस डॉक्टर साहब ये मैं ये प्रोजेक्ट जो से बस देर वात साइन खतर तुझ पन्नस ऑफिस मस तुझ पन्नस ऑफिस अद सु डिपार्टमेंट डिपार्टमेंट कोतन वात ठीक 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 ओके ओके yes, sorry for interruption in between because I had a phone call from somewhere. Yes, great to see a good number of participants in this national education policy program, and as rightly put forth by Professor Atiq Saab, that the University Grants Commission, in fact, has we cannot say of late realized it, but it has been there. There has been always constant such kinds of programs which are for upgrading, upskilling, and improving the skill base and understanding and knowledge of the faculty members, the scholars. So it is in continuation with that. The NEP programs are being held all over the country. The mandate has been given to the various MMTTCs to run these programs with the overall and arching aim to actually, enhance the knowledge base of the, we can say, the various faculty members, and especially the ones who are in the infancy of their careers, because they have to go a long way when it comes to managing the affairs of the education institutions of the country. There's a lot of burden onto their shoulders, and having them properly, I can say, crafted for, or properly, we can say, exposed to the various nitty-gritties of the leadership programs or leadership as such, basically makes a lot of sense in that way. So since the title that I'm going to basically interact with you is related to the academic leadership, and I have already requested my worthy director from your end that I have to inaugurate my own NEP program from today, starting from 2 itself. So unfortunately, I may not be available until it is 1:45. I may have to just somewhat be a little early by a few minutes, only because I have some important other activity to engage in that has just cropped up yesterday evening. And the point that we are going to discuss with you is related to the academic leadership. And we know that with the implementation of the national education policy, the role of the academic leaders, the ones who are serving as the heads, the principals, the vice chancellors of the academic institutions, it has truly got, what you can say, changed, only because there has been, a huge transformation in the educational landscape of the country because of the implementation of the national education policy. And the kinds of changes that have been made, the kinds of transformations that have been initiated, they do require the academic leaders who are well versed with the various policies, with their implementation, and with the various nitty-gritties of the leadership. So leadership is no more something that can be just entrusted upon a person just to be a leader, just to be a principal. It's all the more necessary since we have got some given parameters which make us as leaders, in the sense that we become the heads of the departments, the deans of the schools, and university setup, and then for that matter, the principals of the colleges, the vice chancellors of the universities, by dint of our seniority or maybe by dint of our research contribution. So these are some of the important criterions that make someone to be the head of the education institution. But the most important aspect and part of this leadership is being just ignored, which is to do with actually whether the concerned is well versed with the leadership role. Can he be in a position to run the affairs of the education institution properly or not? That basically is something which is being just ignored, and that's not being given the kind of emphasis that is required. So it is truly a great sign that the University Grants Commission has initiated these programs, and it's not surprising to note that the University Grants Commission has roped in the most prestigious management institutions only to impart leadership training to the sitting vice chancellors, to the sitting principals. The idea is basically that they should be properly exposed to leadership. They should be in a position to run the affairs of the academic institutions properly. And naturally, we know it for sure. And we've been hearing from the word go that the teachers are the builders of the nation. So as builders of nation, how is it that you have a leader who is running the affairs of the academic institution will not be well versed with the leadership? And because he is to run the affairs of the teachers in turn of the nation builders. So it's a huge responsibility on the shoulders of the teachers, and naturally in turn is a responsibility on the academic leaders to be well versed with the various integrities of the leadership. These programs are actually intended for that, and especially we know, given the kind of transformation that has taken place in the last couple of years, things have altogether changed. And so naturally it's all the more necessary that our worthy and especially the budding we can say the faculty members have to have a proper exposure to leadership. And one thing that you have to just draw away with in your minds is that since you're not holding any kind of academic or leadership role at this point in time, I'm sure that most of you might not be, but still then a time is not far away when you will be entrusted with being the coordinators, being the heads of the departments, and the principals of the college. It doesn't take much of a time, but having a proper understanding of how to run the affairs makes a sense, and is always advantageous. The ones who are exposed to it will surely be at an advantageous position. Now, when we know academic leadership, and especially in the view of the given NEP 2020, we know that it aims at flexibility, it aims at a skill-based educational system. It's based on future ready while establishing India as a global knowledge superpower. There are lots of transformations that have been made and that are being implemented at this point in time. So naturally, exposure is altogether a must. Effective academic leadership as envisioned by 2020, it does require not just the implementation of the policy changes, but fundamentally transforming how I can say the leaders, they envision delivering major education in service of India's future generations. So it's not only one part that has to be taken into consideration, that we are concerned with the, for example, with the policy changes. Policies in itself alone cannot make any change unless until we implement it. And for implementation, we require the, the kind of understanding, the kind of vision, the kind of, we can say, charisma that leaders should carry on with in order to implement it properly for the good of the nation as a whole, especially when it comes to the educational sector. We know for sure that we have got different conceptualizations of management and leadership. Those particular persons who are just concerned with looking at whether the classes are being run on time, whether we have got the exams being conducted. These are the routine kinds of affairs. This is not what exactly leadership is all about. It simply can be dubbed as management. So routinely you are able to manage the affairs, that's it. You don't go beyond that. What's of paramount importance is that how innovative you are, how creative you are, how you are able to create an enabling atmosphere in your institution which sees the implementation of the NEP 2020 policies in its right perspective. And that requires a leadership kind of a charisma, leadership kind of a role, rather than just, I can say, a management kind of a role. So management just involves in planning, organizing, controlling, and all that is possible. It's a very traditional way looking at the education institutions. A more robust and a more relevant ways of looking at the education institutions demands leaders who are very innovative, who create uncertainties. They are not well, but they are not interested in creating uncertainties. They do something essentially different. They have a very different kind of approach and understanding when it comes to dealing with the organizational affairs. That's what kind of a leadership we require. Now again, we talk about leaders directions. Leaders communicate, how he communicates, what does he communicate, what does he emphasize, for instance. That has an important role to play. That's what the rest of the people, the rest of the followers, they get to know that what this particular leader is, hell-bent at, is interested in. For instance, a leader, if some simply is concerned with the timing of the faculty members, that's also possible that some leaders would wish that their faculty members come on time, they leave on time, without looking at, for example, this is one of the priorities a leader can have. I'm just giving an example, contextualizing it. Suppose your principal is just concerned with or interested in only faculty having being there in the college, in the university on time, without looking at their contribution. So if you're prioritizing time, that means faculty would come in time, they leave on time. But what is more important is that what has been their contribution. So if you are just emphasizing on one aspect but not the other, that means that you're not leader. Leader's role is not only to confine his role to a peculiar point. Like suppose he is more interested and he feels happy if faculty members can come on time. But then he is not that concerned with whether the just a minute, please. Just a minute. Sajid. मंजूर चलो ठीक ठीक है ठीक ठीक है ठीक है ओके 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 फाइन sorry to disturb again sorry for the interruption, but anyways, I was talking about a person who the head of the institution. He is the one who communicates what he prioritizes. Now if he feels that coming on time and leaving on time makes a difference, that's not going to make the difference. But at least you get to know as employees that we are supposed to be on time, we are supposed to be on time coming and leaving. Rest is not. But then simultaneously, if a leader also focuses on the contribution, how are you contributing to the goals of the education institution? How, when it comes to taking classes regularly, how you are taking classes? One is taking classes regularly, but how are you taking classes regularly? How you are engaging students? How are you engaging with the students in the classroom? And how are you building their confidence? How are you building their skill base? How are you building their knowledge base? How often are you changing the curriculum? And what new changes you are bringing in that curriculum? Suppose a leader looks at that, for example, a teacher is teaching a particular subject for a pretty long time. How many changes has he made from the day he joined the department until now? Have there been any changes? Has he come up with anything very different which has relevance? Many a things. I'm just trying to convey that leader's job is actually to communicate to his followers as to what he prioritizes, what he feels is important, what he feels is necessary, and he should have all that to be communicated, and that is what his we can say followers get to know. Then we have an important aspect to keep in mind, that before we push on to discussing some more, I can say, points, I would like basically to look at one important aspect, and which has to do with, just a minute, please. Just a minute, please. Oh, yeah, there was some technical issue, right? Just trying to fix it. Is the yes. Anyways, so we have the leaders who have a very important role to play in that regard. Then we say that leadership, as I say, we talk about the communication. These are the important things that the leaders have to do. And alongside this, he is the one who sets the vision. He's the one who influences the culture. That plays a very important role in any organization. I was giving an example to you that leader, what he actually envisions about the education institution, that plays a very important role. Like, for example, head of the department or the leader of the organization, leader of the education institution, if suppose he focuses on projects, what does he do is that he focuses on projects. His prioritization is, for example, the projects. That means something which faculty, as I give an example of the time, if suppose he is more interested in time, likewise, if suppose he communicates with his, I can say, with his fellow men, with his followers, that these are some of the things that I give more importance. So it means that that will have a proper impact and influence on the overall, I can say, understanding and overall, we can say, understanding of the followers. They will get to know what exactly the leader is interested in, what exactly the head of the department is interested in, the principal is interested in, or likewise the vice chancellor is interested in. Now, before we move on, would just like to throw some light on the various models of the leadership. What types of perspectives we have? We have at least three ways of understanding leadership. One, we talk about, for example, the trait model, traits, the characteristics, the features that some leaders have that make them as leaders. And the second one, we may take into consideration the behavioral perspective, which is nowadays long we talked about. And then also we have another perspective called a contingency, situational leadership, I can say, style, or the situational leadership, we can say, perspective. Now, if we talk about the traits perspective, trait perspective is basically concerned with the traits of the leaders. Yani, this perspective means that leaders ought to have some peculiar traits that can make them as successful or very effective leaders. And this was a time when lots of different kinds of traits were identified by the authors, philosophers, writers. They said that all those who have got these different kinds of traits that can make a leader a very successful and an effective leader. But one of the important disadvantages that were observed out of this trait perspective was that only those who have these peculiar traits can become the leaders. Therefore, the perspective envisaged that the selection should be made such, for example, of the principals or the vice chancellors or head of the departments who have those peculiar traits, because that's what can make them as successful and effective leaders. Therefore, all those who will not have those particular traits can never become the leaders. That was one of the important perspectives, and it had implications. And as they say, one of the important implication was that you can only have some particular persons who can end up as successful or effective leaders. No other person will have that sort of success, because if they do not have those particular traits, different traits were, we will discuss them a little later. But then another perspective emerged, and that was a behavioral perspective. That instead of looking at the traits of the leaders for their successfulness or for their effectiveness, we should look at the behaviors of the successful leaders. Behaviors. So behavior is something which is observable. Behavior is something which is action oriented. So what people do as successful leaders, what successful leaders or effective leaders do, let us copy that. Let us copy that. And then let emulate it, and then accordingly try to arrange training programs, developmental programs for the future leaders, and try to have those particular, I can say, behaviors imbibed in them, internalized by them, telling them that these are the leaders who are successful leaders. These are the behaviors of their success. This is what tells us that they have been successful leaders, this behavior. And then that is the behavior that you would wish to have in your future generation, future leaders. So it was that way, quite kind of a practical or kind of a, I mean, approach in developing the leaders, unlike the trade perspective, where there was no such kind of a scope. Then a third, which was emerged, was contingency theory, that there is no one peculiar style that is acceptable. Contingency includes situational, different. It may vary from situation to situation, depending upon how you envision the situation, how you understand the situation. Based on that, you are envisioning, based on your understanding of the situation, you accordingly adapt yourself, and you accordingly try to, I can say, manage and lead the affairs. Many a times we do resort to this kind of an approach. Contingency. Then we have distributed, shared, authentic, servant. These are the parts. But actual point is that we got the most important three perspectives: trait, behavioral, and the contingency. We might discuss one or two. We may start with, for example, when it comes to the traits, your leadership traits. But before we proceed on, what I would wish from your end is that there is a very small kind of an exercise, a very small exercise, and which has got some 8 traits here. 8 traits: visionary, ethical, innovative, collaboration, authoritative, bureaucratic, empathetic, and the political one. What you have to do is simply, in order to know about your own self, you have to just encircle the three that describe you, three of these traits, beginning from 1 to 8. And then 2, you have to make mention of which you want to grow in, which you want to grow into. So you may not have those traits, but you see from the list of these 8 traits that these are the traits that I have, and these are the 2 traits that I would like to. So in total, you have to choose 5 traits. 3 the ones which are which describe you. Like suppose somebody would say, sir, I'm visionary, means he has to encircle that. Somebody would say that I'm collaborative, he has to encircle that. Somebody would say that I'm already empathetic, so he has to encircle that. Then if suppose one wants that I would like to be ethical, I would like to be bureaucratic, you may encircle that as well. Are you getting me? Please. It's a very small exercise. It is for you, so that we have a bit of an interaction also. So this is for you to look at. Is it visible to you? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, it
Yes,
is
sir.
visible.
Yeah, just on, this is a very small exercise, and what would as I mean share with you is that you have to just I mean look at these different traits and encircle the 3 that you are in, and encircle the 2 that you would like to grow into. Just have a pen and a paper, and or you can just write it down that these are the ones that I have, and these are the ones that I would like to grow into. Are you doing it, please? Yes, please. Can you have your cameras on, and may I know whether you are doing it or not?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please. Good afternoon.
Yeah, sir, I have circled 3 that describes me.
Yeah.
One is ethical, innovative, and collaborative.
Ethical.
Innovative.
Okay, and collaborative.
Yeah.
Okay, which one is you want to grow into?
Ethical, or like the other 2, which I want to select from the remaining. Visionary.
Achha, you want to grow in visionary?
Yeah. And empathetic.
Empathetic. Very good. Very good. Anybody else, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, I have the first one is like empathetic, collaborative, and ethical.
You have empathetic, collaborative,
and ethical.
Fine.
Yeah. I want to grow with this political and bureaucratic.
You want to go into political and bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else would like to show and share his, the traits that he is holding right now and the ones that he or she wants to grow into?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Hello, sir. Yeah, visionary.
Okay.
Ethical.
That's great.
And innovative.
You are in, and which ones you want to
Yes.
go into?
I want to grow collaborative, bureaucratic, and empathetic.
Okay. So anybody else would like to share his views on? Yes. So we have already 3-4 participants, and they have already shared their views, and I'm sure that rest of the members have also, I'm sure that they have also done it. So the thing is that these are the traits, and then we may move on to saying that what makes an effective academic leader? Have a look on this. What makes you know that we have visionary leader. A good number of you have already talked about collaborative, ethical, adaptive, innovative, empathetic. These are some of the important, we can say, qualities of an academic leader. And academic leaders are supposed to have these kinds of different traits and should necessarily, develop them. And then when it comes to the kind of corrections that we ought to make in our own selves as successful academic leaders, in case we really want, one is that we have to avoid to be the bureaucratic rigid leaders, avoid bureaucratic rigidity that slows reforms. If you are really, so bureaucratic, and given NEP 2020, I'm sure that it's not in alignment with that, because NEP 2020 has come up with a huge amount of transformation, and transformation is not necessarily and that easily possible when you are too rigid and you are too bureaucratic. Then again, you have to avoid favoritism or bias. You know that in departments, in universities, and in colleges, on the whole, this favoritism, biasness, and this discrimination is creating a hell lot of issues and problems. So this has to be avoided by all means by the academic leaders as heads of the departments, favoring one at the cost of somebody else. These are the things that we do witness in our day-to-day behaviors, in our day-to-day actions, and especially then in the absence of any accountability, these things happen. in the absence of any accountability. You don't have the appropriate and vibrant grievance redressal cells available, either in the departments or at the university level or the college level. They are, but in most of the cases, we find them to be very defunct. Hardly do they, I can say, meet very rarely. And then again, there's a favoritism in that grievance redressal cell as well. If a person is very close, then hardly any action is initiated or taken. Hardly we can say deterrent or recommendations are made because the person is influential. Likewise, avoid, we can say, politicization. I can say again of academic decisions. Every now and then we see that that's again hampering the very functioning and effectiveness of the organizations, especially the academic institutions. So that is something again that has to be done by us, and we have to be careful about. In case we have these kinds of tendencies and proclivities, we should try to shun them, not to be that rigid, not to be bureaucratic, not to be biased, not to be discriminatory. And this is all the more necessary that how would you come to know in many ways, because you feel that I'm always right, because I'm always right, because it's me who is there as the head of the department, or who is there as the vice chancellor or the principal of a college or a coordinator or dean. So naturally, we've always kind of developed that tendency of we being right, I being right, and the rest being wrong. So how to do away with it is basically that you seek feedback from very, very close ones who we trust also, who can provide you with a very constructive kind of a feedback that who we are, who I am actually, who I am, why do you find that I've got some deficiencies, why shall I improve myself? So this is how you can basically become a good leader as well. Because if somebody is there who is pinpointing your deficiencies, in your lapses, in your behaviors, your actions, you must consider him or her as a well-wisher. Then a person who is just coming up with, because you've got so many psycho funds available as well, in order to just grind their own X, they would be, just kind of flattering you. They could be just there to just go on praising you. But that's not something you should always take. What's more important for us as leaders, especially when it comes to the academic institutions, we're bound to take the feedback from the ones whom we trust, and then accordingly try to correct ourselves wherever we have got some kinds of deficiencies and issues that we face. And since we're talking about this important aspect of the trait and behavioral theories, we discussed only one aspect of this, the traits, that people have got some peculiar traits, characteristics that makes them the successful leaders. And as a result of that, this perspective believes in selection of the right people. Selection of the right people, looking at the traits. You might have questionnaire skills and all that, or you may just probe into while you are interviewing. You have to have some very, I can say, stalwarts to conducting interviews. If you have to, or then you might have heard about people being successful, effective leaders, and on that basis, since we know our own context and culture, our own limitations, and our own, I can say, guidelines, rules, and regulations when it comes to the appointment of the academic leaders, you have to follow them. So naturally, this perspective is probably very difficult to be, but at least for an individual who takes over as the leader, he has to then rely upon another important perspective that's called a behavioral perspective. The behavioral perspective is basically concerned with your approach, your dealing. If you are a successful leader, how you have emerged as a successful leader, what important behaviors you have been exhibiting that tell us that that basically lead to your success and that lead to your effectiveness. That's something we have to keep in mind. Since I did talk about these traits, height, weight, all these things have been, talked about as the traits like selflessness, honesty, fair, hardworking on the part of the leaders. And then we know that when it comes to leadership, since there are some deficiencies with the trait model, because it does employ many other things. One important thing is that these traits are basically the competencies. They are competencies, and they refer to a leadership potential, but it's not a must that a person who has got some peculiar, for example, competencies could emerge as a good performing leader as well, simply because competencies only are potentials. They are potentials. Suppose you have a teacher, he is good at knowledge, he has got all the grip over knowledge, research, and his own subject domain, but he's not that inclined and interested in taking classes. Potentially he has, but he's not making use of that potential. Likewise, a leader has got the traits. He has got the traits, he has got the charisma, but he's not making use of that. He has got the competencies, he has got the vision, he has got many good things, but he is not there to make use of. I do remember one of the persons from my own university, as a professor now retired. He never took over as head of the department, though being very competent teacher, very competent researcher, but he never took this. He said, yeah, it is just boring. It is just, monitoring and kind of surveillance I have to have on the departmental activities. This is people, at times we find that people shirk responsibilities. So in fact, if a person has not that inner inclination towards something, so mere competency does not guarantee performance. Mere competency, mere potential, no way guarantees the performance. Therefore, in that case, I'm again extremely sorry for just a minute. I'll be just back to you. So I would accept to speak with you. Judy, carry as much as very sure. Said. Nós, you guys empathy. I should some kind of financialism. So I should not pass a mish by post. I say, continue. Honors, which basically is current be name is Sato Mistamata. Magar Ashimala practice sanction, Harkun MMTTC, similar sanction, Marches Maze, April body of this month. Oh, yeah, that is better. Yeah. Oh, that is better. Post Karabis, inshallah, was the cash banana. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Honest, yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, sorry again to disturb you because I again received some phone call. As we are talking about that, competencies do not necessarily mean performance. Therefore, another important perspective that emerged was a leader behavior perspective. And you know that this was only at the instance of two important universities, Michigan University, very famous, and Ohio State University. They realized this, that if we just go by the trait perspective alone when it comes to the identification of the successfulness or the effectiveness of the leaders, then it's important that we do away with the traits, look at the behaviors. So what they did is that through 40s and 60s, they searched for the uniqueness, if any, in the way effective leaders behave. How do they behave? Researchers were able to correlate. Now, what is important? When you say that a leader is successful, if suppose we say that a leader has got a competence, he has got a vision, he has got everything, but on the ground we find that the organization that he runs is going to a declining trend. It's not able to achieve any remarkable, we can say, milestones. So you have a leader on one side saying, oh, he is very charismatic, very visionary, he has got a lot of different kinds of traits. But when you see on the ground, his followers, his employees, on the whole, his organization is not marching ahead. They are not achieving any milestones. How can we still believe and how can we still claim that leader is very effective, leader is very successful, leader is very charismatic? So these traits basically need to get transformed into and reflected into the success of the organization and that success of academic institutions, that how new programs have been able to add, how we have been selected the faculty members, which faculty members have been able to, how have been able to inspire them to conduct good research, to conduct scientific research, to conduct research which is relevant to the social demands and requirements. So that is the parameter that ultimately lets us know that this particular leader has got a vision and that is being implemented as well. So we say that mere as well, I'm talking about the competencies of yours will not be any use. What will be of use, what will be of utilization is that how it actually brings changes on the ground. So therefore, for example, if your followers are not satisfied with you, You have been very snubbing. You've got very irritating kind of behavior. You're only issuing different kinds of threats and intimidations to the, for example, to your followers. Look at the case of Indigo. Very recently, a video became very viral, wherein one of the employees of Indigo was saying that it was in the making. The mess was in the making. One of the important reasons was that the pilots or the crew members, whenever they would come up with any kind of a complaint, especially with regard to the rest time, they were always being snubbed. They were all being rebuked, cursed, and in fact intimidated that they would be sent out of the organization. So that was the kind of a situation that was prevailing for a long. That video says that for about 8 years now. That means that apparently it looked that everything is hanky-dory with Indigo, but all of a sudden, how is it that it has collapsed? So it was in the making. Leaders, the CEO, the people at the helm of affairs did not pay any genuine attention to what is happening. What kinds of complaints are coming to us? They are not satisfied. Pilots are not satisfied, crew members are not satisfied, staff members are not satisfied. We have to do something about it. Now, if you are enjoying at that point in time, and then without looking at, for example, the grievances, the genuine demands and requests of your people, of your members of the organization, then you are gone. The fate of Indigo is very much visible before our eyes. So is the case in the organizations as well. Looking at that what is the successful, what is this, I can say, the effectiveness of a leader that gets translated into the employee satisfaction, their performance, and ultimately. And that was the reason that two, very reputed universities in USA, Michigan University and Ohio State University, they started basically working on it. They started conducting research on it. And what did they do is that they found, Ohio State University, for example, after the 1,000 and more than 1,000 dimensions, they wanted to locate the success or behavior of the behavioral characteristics of the leaders. Out of more than 1,000 dimensions, what they ultimately found was initiating structure and consideration were the two most important dimensions or behavioral characteristics of the leaders. And look at it, initiating structure. So what does it actually mean? Number one, that a leader knows who I am. I know who I am and what is my role in this organization. And then he's the one who is able to identify the roles and responsibilities of his fellow men. So he is not only knowing about his own role. Naturally, if I'm not well versed about who I am, I'm heading a department, but I don't know who I am, what role I have. Is my role only to put my signatures on different kinds of papers and files and documents? Is that the role? Is this my role that I have to only look at whether classes are being run properly or not? Is that the only role? Oh, initiating structure means that a leader, the head of the department, and the leader on the whole has to look at who I am, what is my role, what is my vision, how I can reach to that vision, and then how my fellow men, how my followers will help me achieving that goal and that vision of this particular institution. Initiating structure. Second most important is that consideration, empathetic. A good number of you said about, some said that we want to develop that kind of a characteristic in us, that kind of a trait in us. Some who already have empathetic. How considerate also you are. Many things are there which cannot be done by being harsh, by being intimidating. As we talk about Indigo crisis, then again it surfaced that the management was not that considerate towards the employees, towards the pilots, the crew members, the staff members. They were not that considerate, and then it got boiled up, and finally it got boiled up to an extent where we see that the fate of the Indigo has been absolutely at a very precarious condition, a huge losses, and the kind of trust that they had gained over a period of time. I tell you very honestly that if this point in time there is any other airlines which can provide good facilities to the passengers, they will surely have a huge market share in the times to come. But these are the important fundamental things that have to be kept in mind. That one is that as we talk about this consideration, that we not considerate towards our employees. So is the case with the leader. So is the case with another department. In many cases, especially when it comes to academic institutions, we can't be bureaucratic. We can't just fall back to those rules and regulations every now and then. It doesn't mean that we have to violate the rules and regulations, but the way you interpret them, the way you can implement them, that plays an important role. So these were the two dimensions that were actually found out by this Ohio State University. Am I audible to you, please? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Fine. So have a look on this. Look that we have got Michigan University now. Simultaneously, they were conducting research. Either of the university do not know who is doing research on what. But the ultimate idea was that we shall look at the behaviors of the successful leaders. And now, looking at this leader behavior perspective, what they found, employee-oriented leader and production-oriented leader. Now, employee-oriented leader means leader show concern again for a subordinate. That's consideration, as we found in the Ohio State University's research. Imagine I mean, similar kinds of similarities in their we can say results. Similarity in their results. Employee-oriented leader is akin to consideration that we found that was identified by Ohio State University, and then production-oriented leader that was identified by again Ohio State University. A production-oriented is akin to initiating structure, knowing what's my role, what's the role of my I can say subordinates and my fellow men. This study therefore emphasizes the importance of participatory leadership by leaders seek input from subordinates, enhancing job satisfaction and productivity. Unfortunately, we become so bureaucratic once we assume the charges of either directors, heads of the departments, registrars, vice chancellors, principals. And we did not look at that we too also have begun with being lecturers some time ago, or assistant professors. Then we have gradually moved from being assistant professors to senior, then associate, then professors. Then we are assuming this kind of a charge. I mean, it is so, I can say, opposed by some as if they have just come from sky and they have been given the designations or the chairs to sit on, and the way they would like to do, they would do it. We see it, we have witnessed it. I mean, the kind of consideration that you ought to have, the kind of feeling and the empathetic that you ought to have is something that is one of the important virtues of the leaders, and we should grow with them. Now, in certain cases, there could be a question, as we talked about the contingency model of research as well. The point basically is that where should what a leader do? How should he be considered? Where should he be considerate? We know that we have we are the leaders in our own classrooms, in our own domain, in our own perspective. That I can say, entered the class, we know that we've got different types of students. You give assignments to students. Some of the students are there who are ready to respond to those. Some of the students do take some time. Some of the students do not turn back. So, I mean, they don't comply with different. That's the case with our own children as well. We have got different types of children. We have their temperaments and all that. That's how is the case with our fellow men, with our workers as well. In many cases, we find them, number one, for example, able to do, and they are willing to do. There are two important things that we have to keep in mind when it comes to implementation of a contingency model, for instance. That is, we know that when we have to be considerate, when we have to be, I can say, a taskmaster, when we have to be hard on our employees, and when we have to be very considerate. For example, you have an employee who knows what to do and he's willing to do. We need not have any kind of that harshness towards him, because the guy knows what to do and what not to do, and he's got the requisite ability and all that with him. That's one part of it. Second, we have got some employees who are, for example, able to do, but they're not willing to do. Ability is there, but willingness is not there. You have to be a little considerate, empathetic. You have to just go on inspiring them. This is how you have to deal with your employees. Likewise, we have some employees, they are unable, but they're not willing. Oh, how problematic it is. They are unable, but they are not willing to learn also. That's an issue also with some of the employees. So that again is something which is not encouraging. That's not acceptable. You have an employee who is unable, but is alive and also is not willing to do the things. Then you have some people who are able, but they are not willing to do. One person who is unable but is unwilling, another person who is able but he is willing, another person who is unable but is willing to do. So you have to be considerate, and here you have to initiate a structure. You should tell him what to do because he doesn't require the ability. So the point basically is that how shall we implement contingency model? How shall we implement it? What should we do with them? We will have different perspectives, different kinds of employees. So naturally, we have to deal with them accordingly, depending upon our sense of maturity, depending upon our vision, depending upon our understanding of the situation. We have to get on with. Now, we may turn our attention towards, because I have to leave a little early as I have to inaugurate my own NEP program that's starting from today. I beg a pardon, very huge pardon for it. I should have basically continued until 2 or past 2. Still, we have some 15 to 20 minutes at our disposal that we shall basically utilize to our advantage. If you are really hearing me, are you really hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Please. So when it comes to NEP 2020 and the focus on academic leaders, we know that there is a recommendation of the NEP with regard to induction of autonomy, multidisciplinary system, academic banks of credit, proposed increased gross enrollment ratio, and especially when it comes to the lots of the private institutions now come into picture, come into play their role. That's the kind of a competition we might be facing now in the times to come. So we have to basically be prepared for that and do something which is very important for us. Now, when it comes to the academic leaders, what role they can play in NEP reforms, for instance, a strategic rule number one for the academic leaders like the HODs, the principals, the deans, they must interpret these reforms. You know that in many cases we find leaders not being properly well versed with for example, the nitty-gritties of the NEP 2020. In many cases, they have found it. In meetings also, we get to know that head of the department is sort of unaware of the implications, unaware of how to execute, how to implement. So we need, as the academic leaders, have spare time, work on it, understand it properly, so that we are able to defend it and we are able to present it properly. That is our role. So we cannot just, take shelter in saying that I don't understand it. I am not there to. There are some, for example, in certain cases, some coordinators. There are in certain cases some contractuals. They are being entrusted with the job of knowing what NEP is all about, what NEP reforms mean, and how they can be implemented. But that's not the way the heads of the institutions can actually run. And do away with the implementation part of it or in the understanding part of it. They have to be very versed with it. Likewise, multidisciplinary and holistic learning is there. Academic leaders must redesign curricula, promote cross-disciplinary collaboration, guide faculty in adapting to broad techniques, teaching approach. They should be very aware of it. What is something new? That's why you need to have a very visionary kind of a person at the top who is there to guide, properly the subordinates, the followers. Autonomy, greater autonomy is there through the formation of multidisciplinary education and research universities. Effective leadership is required to build internal governance, quality assurance mechanisms. You know that we have got some universities which are Meru universities. Their only job is to conduct research, guide research, have the students to be, for example, enrolled for research. Likewise, focus is now on research, innovation, and quality. NEP 2020 has got a huge focus on it, especially the socially relevant, we can say, themes and topics have to be encouraged so that the issues, the sufferings of the society do also get eradicated when we come up with the hard facts. What are the problems? Why there are problems? What are the antecedents of those problems? So we have to also be very conscious about and seized with the societal issues and problems so that as researchers we are able to find the I can say the hard evidences and facts and produce them, and so that the informed decisions are taken by the policy makers. So our research should in no way be the research which is very traditional, which will only have a shelf life. Now again, we require a person who is holding the chair, who is on the chair, that he has a proper understanding of what research means, what innovation means, what quality means, what research being socially relevant means. So he has to have all that potential and understanding of that, then only can he guide his faculty, the scholars in the concerned streams. So is the case with technology integration and digital transformation. We know huge, and likewise we got the competency based. That when it comes to digital transformation, no principal can say that I cannot learn it now. We have a time still. We can still learn. The ones who are in the fag end of their careers, they still have to, because there is no end to learning. Nobody can simply say that it's not my cup of tea now at this stage of time, at this point in time. That's not the case. The principal normally assumes a charge of principalship at a later stage, but then doesn't exonerate him rather from being digitally informed and transformed one. Likewise, competency-based and outcome-based education. You know that we have had, CBCS, that was the choice-based credit system, and now we have shifted from there now to a competency-based and outcome-based education, which is more concerned with actually knowing about the learning outcomes of the courses, knowing about the overall program outcomes. So it's not that something that you can do just for the heck of it. Let it not be a simple formality. Let it be a genuine kind of an act on the part of the faculty members who draw a curriculum for their various subjects and courses. What they should know about is that what is the overall program learning outcome of the program that we are actually offering, and simultaneously know that how we every course is correlated to that overall program learning outcome. So if there is any kind of a deviation, see to it that how I have to improve my course curriculum, how different I can say contents I have to put in that there. So it's not like that we come up with the course outcomes and course objectives and all that will work. But if you are really serious about it, you have to do that curriculum mapping, but you have to check that every course of yours is correlated to the overall program learning outcome. The higher the correlation, higher the possibility, and higher you can claim that your course curriculum is designed or is so, I can say, framed that it is correlated strongly with the overall program learning outcome. Then equity, then you have got the capacity building. All these are actually very essential, very important indeed. And you know that capacity building, motivated and trained and empowered faculty is required. Academic leaders must facilitate regular faculty development programs. Again, we find heads of the departments, the principals of the colleges, they are very conservative when it comes to deputing the faculty for these developmental programs. Wherever there is a chance for learning, we should always try to facilitate that for our faculty members. We should give them a chance. You can complete course, you can complete syllabus as well. Devise a plan for that. Devise a plan that how we can depute faculty members for various learning opportunities, developmental programs. That has to be the calendar. That is being innovative. Innovative does not mean that you will simply look at whether the classes are being run on time, whether the exams are being conducted on time. This is the innovation. If it was not done earlier on, do it. Begin with, start, take an initiative, do it for the good of the faculty. We never know that if a faculty member comes across with a few, I can say, well-learned experts in his or her field, where it will take him. So that is something we should be very progressive about. We should think about, and we should basically be lenient about, because that is something that is required by our, I can say, worthy leaders and worthy, I can say, faculty members. Now, I will just wind it up with one or two more slides, because as I said that I am bound by another important activity that's to be carried out in my own center. And it just happened only because we had some issues with the participants, but then finally we have to start with it from today. And when it comes to the academic leaders, their learning, their research and personal development is all that is required. And as I told you, that when it comes to the academic institutions, look at this, control-centric is not something that can make us successful leaders. We have to be very collegial. Otherwise, also we know that we have got various departmental committees, we have got department research committees, we have got purchase committees. Why do we have all these different kinds of committees? It's all democratic setup that we have to initiate and create in our own departments. And we know that in many cases there is a very, we can say, a lack of implementation of all these given guidelines, but doesn't mean that we can take shelter in that, that if we are not being asked for, we should not. We have to at least try to, I mean, engage the faculty members in our decision making, and we should not have a control centric kind of an atmosphere while you take a call of your own without taking into consideration your followers, without taking into consideration your teammates or your other members of the department. A very collegial system is required in any given organization, because if you have the inputs from different quarters, from different, I can say, faculty members, that would be an enriched one, the input, and that will definitely be helpful for you to grow manifold than if you take a call of your own. And again, the responsibility is shared because all the members are responsible, all the members have been taken on board. So in many cases we find that our principals, for that matter, the heads of the departments, the deans of the school, in case it comes to the universities, and in fact the vice chancellors at places, are very bureaucratic, are very control centric, and are least concerned with initiating this democratic setup in their own institutions. That's something which will surely lead to very bad taste, and of course the decisions taken would not be, I mean, the relevant one and the genuine one. They will have lots of flaws as well, lots of problems as well. Since we are left with a very less time because of my other engagements, otherwise I had another exercise for you. If we get a chance sometime in the future, we might take a look on. Now, before we wind up, again, 4 or 5 minutes on this, and then I would just like to take 1 or 2 questions from your end so that we are done with today's session. The competencies for effective leaders, we talk about their attitude, talk about their knowledge, talk about their behaviors. Very simply, very important. And what good leaders are actually at, what knowledge they ought to have, what good leaders know, and then the behavior, what good leaders do. Look at this when it comes to the attitude. We say that they are self-aware, open, discreet, visible, and sensitive to the views of others, and also willing to be wrong. It's a very important attitude on the part of the leaders, that you never say that I'm impeccable. You never say that I cannot commit any kind of a mistake. No, that's not the kind of a stand that you take as a leader, as a genuine leader. You have this in mind that I could be wrong, and you have, that's what can make you to accept the advices. And if you say that I'm impeccable, I cannot do wrong, I cannot commit mistakes, then naturally you will not be ready to accept anybody's advice and support as well. Likewise, when it comes to the knowledge, what good knowledges know, good leaders know, knowledge of the university life. We know that in many cases we don't have a proper understanding of the academic processing. We don't have a proper understanding of the university life as well. We don't have the understanding of how to spend money. If we have, for example, what protocols have to be actually used in order to spend, what codal procedures have to be followed. We have to have a proper understanding of all these things in order to be, I mean, good leaders. A leader, a holistic personality, is a multidimensional personality, has a knowledge, has many things in him which make him as a successful leader. So he is not good at one and completely lacks the others. So it is a kind of a holistic personality that would matter for the success or otherwise of a leader concerned. Then behaviors, we think that they think very broadly and strategically. They engage with people. They're not the kind of leaders. They listen somebody's talk. They listen somebody's backbiting. They listen to somebody's inputs about someone. This is how our universities have been eaten up because of the psycho funds that we have been able to create, and that have always, I can see, change in our mindsets, or they have always poked their nose on some important issues, because they are the ones who always want to be in good books with authorities, and in doing so, they can create, and they do create a lot of mess. It is something which is very routinely happening now in our education institutions. Maybe some of viewers might be, I can say, still clean from this kind of corruption, from this kind of a dirt, but in most of the cases it does happen. Likewise, this leader has a behavior to engage with others, engage with people, consult others, negotiate, communicate very clearly and directly, delegate the things, and build the teams. It's very important. Building teams it's a great virtue. It's a great craft that a person has. Otherwise, by and large, you will find the behaviors of the leaders divide and rule. Instead of creating a team, creating or building a team, that they will work together for the good of an organization. So once there are divisions, once there are peoples, they are bickering, they've got different kinds of, internal bickerings, and they are always there to settle the scores with others. And instead of contributing to the goals of the organization, they prove to be very detrimental to the very goals of the education institutions. So a leader has to be quite, we can say, aware of all these different kinds of games people play, how followers are trying to be political. All has to be taken care of by the academic leaders. They have to be well versed with all this. That's why we use the word that they are a holistic personality, and they have to have a proper understanding of the various nitty-gritties of the leadership. Since again, beg a pardon for maybe leaving session here, but not before I take some questions from the audience, from my worthy participants. And so the floor is open for you. Because any clarifications to seek from me, we have to be a little brief. And if you've got any questions to ask, you are most welcome, please. Yes, please. Are you hearing me? अभी तो नहीं गए क्या? Yes, do we have any questions or any queries from your end?
Faculties, you can go ahead with the question and answer session.
Yes, please.
So we will communicate you the questions if we have through sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we will communicate the questions.
You have a question?
No, we will communicate if any question is there from our faculty member.
Okay. Yes. You are addressing the faculty. Fine. If there's anyone, I will take, and or else we may have to wind up it here, because as I said that I have to just inaugurate one of the programs that we're starting from today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So am I to leave, or we have to listen to, there are some queries, please.
Sir, I think everyone has liked your session. They're saying thank you for information.
You are not
Informative
audible,
session.
please.
Yeah. No query, sir.
No question?
Yeah, no questions.
Okay. So shall we leave then?
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry for leaving the session a few minutes early.
No, sir. You have given your session properly, not an issue.
Okay, son. Thank you very much. So great of you.
Sir. Thank you so much.
I shall leave then, huh?
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
हाँ बेटा बोलो हाँ चुप सोच मत है